Okay, I'm going to get to our last panelist. Is Ryan Calkins, and she is going to talk to us about her personal experiences and kind of what she's doing now.
Right. So I'm Ryan. I've been a lifeguard and a swimming instructor for about 6 years now. I work in Kelowna at the H2O Center. I work with lots of children and elderly people. And for the children aspect, I've definitely met a lot of kids that I've picked out, oh, you've got this trait of autism, or he's displaying OCD or things like that. And then I think back to when I was that young, and I go, how come nobody saw that? Like, why did no one pick up that in me? And my parents have said they've taken me to tens of doctors through my life, and they all just said, well, she's a little girl, she's shy, but that's it, she doesn't have autism, she can't have autism. So when I was diagnosed when I was 21, it was this huge confirmation for me of self-identity and just, wow, people accept that this exists in me. So I was really grateful to Dr. Anthony Bailey for that. And then I guess I'll just speak about how my life has changed since the diagnosis. So for my family, they know what it is now, and my little brother thankfully was also diagnosed, and then my parents and my sister are undiagnosed, but I would definitely say we all fit into that spectrum. But just knowing what that is and finding the research on it and having resources and all of that, my personal life, my family life has changed so much. There's acceptance in my home. There's growth and learning and willing to not necessarily change, but think about change even, which can be even more difficult sometimes. Especially with my dad, we actually have a relationship now, which is something that never existed before I was diagnosed, in my opinion. So for me, if I had been diagnosed when I was 5 or whatever, I can think about how different my life would have been. And I really want that for children now, especially the girls that are looked over because, oh, she's just shy, she's depressed, she's not autistic because it's a she, basically. So yeah, I'm really excited that a panel like this exists. That it's just awesome for me. I was exceptionally excited when I was asked to be here. And then I'll just talk about, like, when I was younger, I could see that I was different from the other children. I couldn't see why, though. Things like they were interested in who was dating who and who said this, and it's just like, well, don't you guys want to talk about what you saw on the news? No. So those kinds of things. And then having obsessions or special interests. For instance, when I was introduced to video games, I played it kind of casually with my friends, and then it became very interesting to me. So I immediately delved into it, became an expert, and beat all of them, and then they no longer wanted to play with me. So things like that with special interests were hard when I was younger. And then finding acceptance with friends is something that I'm still working on. When I went to university, right out of high school, I lived by myself in the dorm, and like the other panelists said, that was the worst experience of my entire life. Was isolated, no family, no friends around me, and I just like spiraled into depression. I ate chicken nuggets every night and wouldn't leave my dorm except to go to class when I could make myself do that even. So having a support group around you, whether it's your family or doctors or friends or a combination of all the above, is really, really important for development, for getting the diagnosis, and just for growing and being able to become independent in life. Like right out of high school, most of my peers became independent right away, and I failed horribly at that. And it's like, well, why did I fail so badly at that when everyone else my age is already dating and got their own job and going to school and living by themselves? So just recognizing that as an autistic person, you don't develop at the same rate with a lot of things, especially socially. That was very, very hard for me to accept. It's still hard to accept sometimes. Like I look at my job, I'm 24, and all of the new lifeguards are 16 and 17. And I'm like, well, why wasn't I there when I was that age? But now it's much easier to accept with a diagnosis. So yeah, I guess my overall point is just that an earlier diagnosis is so crucial for development, for acceptance, and I'm just really glad that all of this is happening. So.